Welcome to Mind Body Monday, and it's really lovely to see you all here. Thank you for joining me. In today's session, I'm going to be exploring some less obvious early warning signs of poor gut health. And I'm also going to cover why paying attention to your mood is important, what your skin can tell you about your gut health, and how your gut and hormones play with one another. Towards the end of this training, I'm going to share with you one hidden, very effective way to quickly read your body's total health status, something that I practice in my clinic, and I've been using it over the last 30 years. The second bonus is I'm going to share with you a quick gut reset strategy, something that I personally have been using for many, many years. Recently, one of the therapists in my clinic who had watched my Mind Body Monday series advised one of the patients who was suffering from a bout of anxiety and depression and whose medication was becoming less effective. And instead of having her revisit her psychiatrist for the umpteenth time to reevaluate, she decided to suggest that she add some prebiotics to her diet. And surprisingly to this patient, that there was quite a remarkable turnaround. It didn't take very long. I think it was under a week or 10 days that her mood lifted, her anxiety eased up, and that was all without changing her meds. And if you've been watching me along with joining Mind Body Monday, you'll probably begin to understand why. And I'm going to share a little bit about that today. For those of you who are new, welcome. My name is Avraham Gundle. I'm the founder and director for the Center for Integrated Medicine. I'm trained as an osteopath, and I practice functional and integrated medicine. And over the last 30 years or so in private practice, I've been privileged to help many patients suffering from a whole host of chronic health conditions, be it anxiety, depression, digestive issues, autoimmune conditions, diabetes, etc. Now, I decided to jump into this topic of less obvious gut symptoms because I think if people were more conscious of behind the scenes what could be going on to impact their health, they could then perhaps take some baby steps, micro steps to manage their health and well-being in a proactive way before things spiral out of control. Most of my patients who see me for digestive problems come in with obvious digestive distress like IBS, constipation, diarrhea, SIBO, heartburn, and many other challenges directly related to their symptoms and gut health. But there's a fair chunk of my patients who don't seem to have any obvious gut symptoms at all. And they've come in to see me for non-gut related, at least apparently non-gut related symptoms. Things like acne or eczema or bad breath or mood disorders, depression, fatigue, perhaps even migraines or headaches, PMS, and even sleep issues. Now, when you begin to understand that the gut and the brain are one integrated system, and the analogy I like to give is pretty much like a mother with a baby in her womb. Everything the mother experiences physically, emotionally, tastes, touches, smells, sees, etc., will impact the health and well-being of her baby. So too, everything that we experience in our life will also impact our gut, but not only what we eat. And in previous Mind Body Mondays training, I've went into detail in terms of the pathway via the vagus nerve as one pathway that hardwires us to this reality. Now, recently I came across some fascinating research in the world of psychoneuroimmunology. I'll say that again because it's a long word, psychoneuroimmunology. This is the interrelationship in the research between psychology, our nervous system, and our immune system. And this research shows that stress and depression can actually reshape the gut bacteria through stress hormones and inflammation. And in turn, the gut bacteria releases chemicals, toxins, and neurohormones that can even change a person's eating behavior and mood. Now, this doesn't mean we don't have choice, because the gut bacteria are asserting their independence over us. Of course, we have choice. We have choice at every moment. But when you're conscious of how things perhaps could be stacking up against us, that may provide better leverage to make better health choices in what we eat and lifestyle, etc. But this research really points to the interconnectedness of the mind and the body and the gut on our moods. And the research also pointed out that this is two-way traffic, that the foods we eat will obviously affect the gut bacteria, which affects our brain and our mood. Now remember that about 50% of dopamine and 95% of serotonin is produced in our gut and not in our brain. Now, these two neurohormones account for so much of our success and our happiness. Serotonin works as a mood stabilizer and helps regulate sleeping patterns as well. And dopamine plays a key role in how we feel pleasure, helps us to strive, helps us to focus, like what you're doing, listening and watching to this Mind Body Monday training, and find things interesting. This is all mediated through these two hormones of dopamine and serotonin, and many others as well. And those are made primarily in the gut. And that's fascinating to me, because it really emphasizes the importance of really taking our gut health seriously, because it impacts our mood and how we feel about ourselves, relationships, and the world as well. Here's an example of a non-obvious gut-related condition. I was treating a 56-year-old woman who was suffering from eczema and fatigue. And this was going on for quite some time. And I'd seen this pattern before, and I was sure that she had some sort of food allergy or chemical sensitivity. And I decided to test her for food allergies and do an environmental pollutants test with her. And sure enough, the report came back that she was negative, which I was very happy about, because it meant that the answer wasn't there. The answer to her problems was somewhere else. And by the way, one of the reasons I do a environmental pollutants test is because there are many pollutants in our environment, be they lead, mercury, cadmium, or aluminum, that we pick up through foods, through the air, through various forms, through pesticides, etc. And they really can impact our gut and our immune system and our health. Anyway, so nothing showed up with these tests. So I began to, as a functional medicine practitioner, I'm curious always to find the root cause of my patient's health problems. So I went back to square one with her, and I reviewed her medical history with her. And even though I asked her when all this began, her eczema issues and her fatigue, she wasn't really able to pinpoint an exact time. But on probing a little bit more, she did remember having chronic strep throat for quite some time and repeated courses of antibiotics. And eventually, the prescribing physician put her on a prophylactic course of antibiotics for several months. And she seems to remember that this was the turning point where her energy levels dropped and her skin broke out. And I really can understand that, because by the antibiotic use, as important it may have been to help her strep throat and kill off that bacteria, it also cost her gut health and the health of her microbiome. And I then put her on my 3-part protocol, which is weed, seed, and feed, which is my gut healing protocol. And within about 3 months, there was a remarkable turnaround with her skin and her energy levels. So this is a case of a patient coming in with non-related gut issue, but yet the root of a problem lay in healing her gut. Obviously, along the way, I supported her skin with topical applications of various things. and nutrients to support her skin healing. But the real focus was getting her gut sorted. And once that turned around, everything really turned around. Another area that is often overlooked that can pinpoint to gut imbalance is, this is more relevant for women, but quite honestly, it's relevant for men too. That just as there's this gut-brain connection, there's something else called the estrogen gut microbiome axis. I'll say that again, the estrogen gut microbiome axis. And there's a lot of research, some interesting PubMed research about this connection between the gut microbiome and hormones, specifically estrogen. And this is mediated through something, a specific enzyme. The enzyme has got a long fancy name called beta glucuronidase. Now, this enzyme is actually made in the gut by the gut bacteria. And the part of the job description of this particular enzyme is to break down estrogen to its active form. Now, if there's not enough of this enzyme because the gut is out of whack, then estrogen is not going to be doing its job. And estrogen has many, many functions in the body. Not only its role in female fertility, but estrogen plays a key role in metabolic health, in cardiovascular health, in skin health, in fat deposit and weight balance, even well beyond childbearing ages. So this research to me is really fascinating, because when women are struggling with various non-gut health issues, and they relate to skin, cardiovascular health, even osteoporosis. In fact, the risk for osteoporosis increases with age if not proper measures are taken. And one of these is a hormonal balance through something called bioidentical hormones, which is a whole separate topic, not for today. But this is very, very important. And this is mediated all through this single enzyme and a bunch of other enzymes and its role in estrogen. I'm just curious, for those of you who are listening here on the live, go ahead and post in the chat if any of this makes sense to you. Do you have any questions here relating to this, or are you aware of yourself having non-gut related health challenges that you feel may be related to the gut? So go ahead and just post that in the chat. I'm just going to take a look at the chat to see if any of you are doing that. And as you post, go ahead, because a lot of my patients sound quite surprised when I tackle their health problems that don't seem to be related to the gut through the gut. In fact, another example of a patient recently was through migraines, and eating things like MSG or food colorings and other additives can really throw off the gut microbiome. Certain medications as well can affect the gut microbiome. Sulfates in wine or preservatives. Sodium metabisulfate is also another preservative agent that can mess up the gut balance and cause headaches and migraines. So that's a non-obvious gut issue that can really be resolved. So as I'm moving towards ending this particular training, I do want to share with you the two bonuses that I really hope you'll be able to apply. Now, the one bonus I said is how to quickly assess your total body health. And then I'm going to share the other bonus with you. When I was studying acupuncture, I discovered the fascinating world of tongue diagnosis. In fact, in my clinic, I have a big, thick book that has over 500 pictures of people's tongues. And by looking at a tongue, a trained practitioner can understand a lot about the tongue, the body's health, because the tongue is like a mirror of the entire body, in all the internal organs of the body, particularly the digestive system. It can even reflect food intolerances, sensitivities, gut problems, toxin levels, and the strength of the digestive system. So here's the thing. You don't need to become an expert in tongue diagnosis to know the basics. A healthy tongue should be pink and covered with small little nodules called papillae. Now, you can just take a selfie of your tongue if you want, or what I recommend my patients do is when you brush your teeth once or twice a day, or more or less, whatever it happens to be, is at that time, let that be a memory hook. When you brush your teeth, have a look at your tongue. In fact, I personally brush my tongue. I've even got a tongue scraper that helps to keep the tongue in a healthy place, not only for oral hygiene, but it also stimulates lots of different things in the body and helps towards great health. So any deviation from a normal pink healthy tongue, or any pain in your tongue, or any other issues with your tongue, you should follow that up with a healthcare practitioner. Now, I tell my patients, as mentioned, to peek at your tongue when you brush your teeth. And in Chinese medicine, if there's a thick white coating on your tongue, this sometimes could mean what they call damp heat, which is a damp constitution in the body. It could mean also a reflective of a weak digestive system, or mediated through the spleen, according to Chinese medicine. But also, it could mean a candida overgrowth, either thrush in the mouth or in the digestive system. So that's one very powerful, simple tool that you can start using every day in your personal hygiene, is to get to know the terrain of your tongue. Look at your tongue every day, just for a week, and get a sense of how what's your tongue look like, and then you can begin to track that. And then obviously, if you have any concerns, bring that to a trained practitioner, either in acupuncture, Chinese medicine, or tongue diagnosis, and you can hopefully get to the root of the issue. Now, a second bonus I wanted to give you, and something that I've been using for many years, is a quick way to reset your gut health. And I do this, generally speaking, on a Motzei Shabbos, after Saturday evening, after Shabbos, after Malava Malka, or Pesach's coming up. It's another strategy wherever possible. Or if you've just been out to Simcha, or you've had a celebration with your friends and family and eaten too much, the fastest way to reset your gut is actually to do what I call an overnight fast. Simply from the time you finish dinner, from the time you have breakfast, you should have a minimum of 12 hours. This really helps your digestive system to regroup, reset, to take the pressure off. I personally aim for 14 to 16 hours because there are many, many wonderful health benefits of an extended break fast, so to speak, from dinner to your first meal of the day. But I would recommend, as a starting place, as a soft, easy starting place, is if you end dinner at 7 or 8, then have your first meal of the day at 7 or 8, that way. And that's a good 12 hours. And you certainly can drink teas and coffees and herbal teas or water. But the idea here is to not have any high calorific food, anything more than 150 calories or something. That way, your digestive system will really have a chance to reset. Let me just take a peek in the chat. Yes, so someone's asked about water too. No, the overnight fast is with water. You can have all your liquids, no problem. Good thing to hydrate. And sometimes what I do is I just put in half a fresh lemon in a whole liter of water with a quarter teaspoon of fresh sea salt or Himalayan salt, which has got lots of different minerals and trace elements in it, which helps hydration. But overnight fast is very, very easy for most people if you can work your schedule around that. So let's do a quick summary. There are many less obvious early warning signs of poor gut health. Some of these include acne, eczema, bad breath, mood disorders like anxiety or depression, fatigue, even headaches and migraines, PMS, and even sleep issues. I spoke about getting to know your tongue terrain, because there are many things that can be revealed about the health of your body, specifically your digestive health, through your tongue. And then a quick reset, a quick win for the day is if you need a gut break, gut reset, you've eaten too much or you've eaten too late, just skip a meal in the morning and go for like 12 hours if you can. If you're feeling weak or tired, it's difficult for you, then 11. If you can't do 11, then 10. It's about micro steps to success. So I'd like to leave you with a weekly challenge for those of you who are up for a challenge. Every Mind Body Monday, I like to end with a challenge because it's all about developing habits and daily habits and basic routines to advance your health and well-being. So the first challenge is do an overnight fast if you can, anything up to 12 hours to make to get you started as a gut reset. And the second one is to examine your tongue. Easy time to do that is when you brush your teeth once or twice a day, and just notice that for a week. And send me an email. Let me know how you get along, or if you're watching the replay on YouTube, post something in the comments. I'll be able to see that, and we'll able to support the community. Thank you all once again for joining me on Mind Body Monday, and I look forward to seeing you next week. And just remember, Mind Body Monday is where self-care is the heart of healthcare, and all you need to do is take one small step, one micro step in the direction of health and well-being in mind, body, and spirit. I look forward to seeing you next week. Have a good one.